Okay, so today our plan is to get the XML and bind it to grid view right away. Okay, so in previous session we saw that we had the JSON thing. We got the collection of JSON and we bind the whole grid using the JSON, I mean Newton's of DLL. Over here the .NET gives you the inbuilt flexibility that you can use the serialize and deserialize methods. Okay, using which you can pass I mean like you can you know generate an XML, that is a serialization, and deserializes the whole XML, gets back to you in the object as a normal object, right? I mean, note down this URL. This guy is pretty awesome. This guy have written a chunk of code and pretty awesome code. Okay, so now what is our aim? I mean like just for the record, just think that we'll be getting a XML string from the outside world. Okay, it could be from the service, it could be from anywhere, REST service, anything, and that XML we need to deserialize and we have to bind into the grid. But most of you don't know what is serialization, what is deserialization. So let's go step by step. First, what we'll do is we'll do the serialization. Okay, so how do I serialize an object? In order to serialize an object, first thing you need to check out my class. Okay, so I have a request class. If you see, my class is decorated with a tag name XML root, and all the elements are XML element. So far so good, right? Pretty basic fields. Next, what I'm supposed to do is, as per the plan, it says create an object and simply serialize. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create a request object. Okay, I fill the values, so now I have an object, right? Now we need to serialize. Serialize means I will convert this object into some format that it will give me an XML. Okay, for that I have one more class, util. Okay, which you can see right here. This is a class which has four methods. Okay, we'll discuss that. I mean, one is serialized object, one is deserialized object, then we got two other methods, right? But just get this thing in your mind, this is a serialized object, it requires a type, okay, and based on type, you do some operation, and in the end, you return a string, which is nothing but a XML string, right? So, what I do is, I need to pass the type to the serialized object method. I say util.serialized object, and this is a type I'm gonna pass, and this is the object request which I have. I'll be passing here. So once I do this, I'll get my XML back. And once I get my XML back, in order to prove, I will write it back. Okay, so let's run. So as you can see, this doesn't look like XML, but if you right click and then you say view source, so as you can see on the top, whoops, I'm not getting the XML. Okay, now how can I explain that this is an XML? Okay, as you can see, right? One second, let me get this XML for you. Yeah, so copy, I'll say notepad, and in which you can see the whole XML which is generated by himself, right? So as you can see, request is my class name, okay, which is basically a root we created. Then we had ID, then we have first name John, last name Kramer, and salaries I don't know, right? So this is what we have. So what we did is like we created, we have serialized our object into an XML string which we'll be using in future, right? So now this is what we have done as serialization. So let's talk about deserialization. So this is the object. When I pass to serialize object, it gives me an XML. But what if I get the XML and I want my serialized object back? So for that, okay, shift F5. For that, what I have to do is, again, I have to say where, then my class, I'm sorry, I'll go like this for more clarity, and I'll say response. Okay, response is equal to, then I'll say util dot deserialize object, then I'll say what type of object I want to deserialize. I'll say request, right? Request is something I want to deserialize, but this object expects a string, right? I'm sorry, you are not able to see anything, right? So what I did actually, this is a request class, I'm creating a response, okay, then util dot deserialize object is a method which requires a type, and as a parameter it requires a string which we already have right here, right? So this might sound a little confusing, but when I'll print the data, things get pretty much clear. Response dot write, where is that, right? Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll call this guy res for less confusion, and then I'll say, okay, I'll say I want to print the first name, because I believe when this method gets executed, I get my object back. Okay, so first name, and then I say res dot, then I say first name, okay, control space, first name plus, then I say last name, okay, looks cool, then I say plus res dot last name. So we are done here. 1 second. Now I think we should run. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll remove this guy first of all, because this guy will be something. Okay, there's a first name, right? So I'll do one thing. I'll keep x, so you'll understand that this is what we are printing, not coming from somewhere else. I'm just printing the first name and last name. Okay, and we know it's gonna give me a John Kramer, right? So let's run. Oops. So as soon as I run, as you can see, my early response is gone. I got my John and I got my Kramer back. So basically what I did was, I mean, these are two very powerful things. Serialize, deserialize. What serialize does is, in our case, it gets the object and converts the whole thing into the XML. Okay, it converts the whole thing into the XML, and the deserialize is the reverse thing. You pass this method XML string, okay, and it will give you back your expected DTO, I mean object, right, whichever you expected. So this is okay, but still we are not happy. Why? Because we need to bind this whole thing to our grid view, right? So what we'll do is I'll remove this guy. Okay, I'll remove this guy, and 1 second, I need to stop. I'll remove this guy and I unlock this guy. Now what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll create a list. Okay, so it's a request. Basically I'm doing is uncommenting the stuff, right? Then I'll create a request object, and then I'll add this request object into this guy, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm just creating a list and keep on adding the objects. And now this is the time for this guy to open up. Control KU. Again I created one more request object, fine, in which I simply added one more object. So my request is my collection of request object. It's a list, right? And now it has two objects, John and Gangs, right? And what I'll do is, to my serialized object, is it possible that I can pass list? Oh yes, you can pass a list. So it would be something like this. So initially you saw what I did was I passed a single object, but here I can pass the whole collection. And talking about the collection, it should be request, because my collection name is reqs, list of requests, right? So let's build. Okay, and I will enable this guy and I will disable this guy. Okay, so basically what are we doing is we are just creating a list of collection of request object. Okay, and we are simply passing that to our serialize method, and let's see what we get in terms of a response. So let's run. So if we run this time, again this is an XML, right? But based on the browser rendering, the stuff goes. Let me get the source, and as you can see, the new guy just came as was a gangs. Like this is a previous guy, and the new guy is a gangs. And guys, link you expertise, he got salary. Okay, so we have the XML, right? So this method is very much capable of serializing any object. Either you pass him an object or you pass him a list. It will deserialize, I mean serialize for you. The same way the deserialize goes, right? In case of deserialize, what I do is control KU. I think I should stop this. Stop it. Shift F5. Control KU. What what is wrong with my keyboard? Control KU. Yeah, looks fine. So in this deserialize method, what I'm doing is I used to serialize this guy and this. So what I'll do is, for in order to avoid less confusion, I'll remove everything. Okay, so basically what I have is, as we had discussed earlier, I had a list of requests which I'll be passing to our serialized object to get the thing serialized. Then we are printing, which we are not gonna do now. Okay, let's do that. Fine. Then what we'll do is we'll ask then whatever the XML string we have got now, initially there was one object, now we have two objects, so we got collection of two objects, right? And the XML is a little bit bigger, so we will pass the XML string over here to our deserialized object. We'll specify that I'm gonna get the collection of request type of request. So this is my guy, he's standing right here. So as soon as the method deserializes, I get the list of collection. I simply bind it to my grid view. Okay, so in order to see practically, let's run. And as you can see, this is my XML which I wrote, right? And to write a grid view, to draw a grid view, only one line of code to get the object. Okay, to get the object and simply bind it, and you're all done, right? And grid view is a kind of a control, it's, I mean, he is pretty much smart. He knows what type of collection he gets, and based on that it renders himself accordingly. So no biggie, right? So this is the basic serialization and deserialization, but I still recommend that you go with this guy, this documentation. Anyways, I'll give you some idea what is going on. So I'll open my util.cs and we'll go to serialize object. In serialize object, it expects a type. Okay, first of all it returns a string. I told you it returns a XML string. Okay, so this guy expects a type. Either it's a single object, or it could be a list. It could be a list. It could be anything. So what we do is the thing we want to return, we are assigning as null, or you can say string.empty. It's alright. Then you create a memory stream. Okay, just for the record, just we are holding on to the stream right now. Then it, in order to serialize the stuff, what we need is we need a serializer. So we create an instance of XML serializer. We pass the type of whatever type, doesn't matter. I have request, I got response. You pass any goddamn type, it will take it. Okay, once it will take, then we need to initialize our text writer. When you initialize your text writer, okay, it's gonna write into your stream, right? So we have already a stream which is our memory stream, which we declared already here. Then apart from that we have encoding. Now this access dot, it has inbuilt serialize method. Okay, when you serialize, it requires a stream. Okay, it requires a stream, or I mean, just one second, let me check. XML serializer, and shit, I gotta stop. It requires, I mean, plenty of things. It requires a stream, right? It requires a stream, then text writer, XML text writer, I mean, blah blah blah. So basically what we have is we have the text writer and it is pointing to our stream. Okay, so when it serialize, it writes the stuff into the stream and we pass our object whatever we have up here. Okay, then in memory stream we collect whatever the base stream collected by this guy by typecasting it. So now we have a memory stream. Okay, and in the end, to get the string done, I mean get the XML string back, I didn't written, that guy has written. He is passing this whole thing as array, right? So as you can see, this is a method. You get the byte of characters. Simply you have the encoding in place. You say encoding dot get string, the bunch of characters. You get your XML back, I mean as in terms of string, and then return the construct string back here, which is here when you serialize it. In case of deserialize, okay, I'm running out of time, man. And deserialize, what we do is again you pass the type, you take the memory stream. Okay, then you call the method. Okay, which is up string, where is it, string to UTF, in which you pass the XML string. I told you in terms of deserialize, you pass the XML string. You get the string, you convert into the byte array, you return a byte array. Byte array comes here. Okay, then you take the XML writer, you load the stream, and then you say the access dot serialize, deserialize. Access, I mean this serializer has the serialize and deserialize method. It has a deserialize method which requires a stream. We got the stream, we need to feed him. So based on that, it will return you the type, what type you are passing, right? So I guess that was it. But do visit this guy. This is awesome guy. Okay, and this is kind of a result you will get. Hope that helps. Thank you.